And we're back. Reverse grid action. Race 2 World Super Touring Championship from the full fat Barcelona Catalonia circuit without the chicane for a good long while. We've missed it, and it delivered. Gasho got 10th place after a bit of a capitulation in practice and qualifying. They've managed to scrape it into the big leagues once more, and they'll be challenging for that lead, and they will be challenged for that lead, hopefully, by the front-wheel drive cars that are on the front of the pack as well. News from the pit lane then from Michael Swinnerton, hopefully. What have you heard rumblings of in the paddock?
Nothing too groundbreaking. I mean, obviously, I had a conflab with Anthony, and he's very happy with the car's handling. As is Kenny. He loves what that Volvo is doing at the minute. So who knows? Maybe they'll move forwards a little bit. But I have a funny feeling Gasho would probably take this win from the pole here.
We shall have to but wait and see when the lights go out. And they do. I think Dumas going to get a blinder off the line. We expected it. We expect the BMWs as well to just power their way through straight down the middle of the Hondas, the Volkswagens. This is going to be a traffic jam and a half into turn one. We can't see all of it as Webber putting some of the dangerous moves and paying off into third place. Gasho now holding up everyone. We've got Ingram up to 5th, Ekstrom down to 8th, and Thompson kind of becoming standard 6th place until something else silly happens. So Duma with a flyer off the line as the high-speed traffic jam gets underway.
Yeah, that was one massive scrum going into turn one with Webber's amazing lightning start. I mean, he did finish 4th last race, so we know he's got speed, but he also had the relevant qualifying position, so that's a
Webber up to
huge lead
second. Lammers looking at the back of Gasho's car. Has he slipped back a little? So, bit of good news, I suppose. If a bit of a slight misprediction that Gasho hasn't exactly run away with it, but that Renault power is making up for lost ground already.
There's also going to be something to be said that, yeah,
wow,
surprise
Lammers
Honda.
with the surprise Honda. Suddenly Honda.
There will be something to be said though that Gasho now has cleaner air in front of him and has less traffic, which will allow him to take slightly more optimum racing lines and not have to compromise so much, which will give him, just more speed overall, be a bit more competitive this time round instead of having to fight privateers for double-digit positions.
At the other end of the scale, his teammate is still fending off the back pack. He is coming through there as Webber now leads the race. Dumas can be happy with the points. All he has to do is, stay there. Would be good if he could get the win in, but I don't think that car has the same amount of beans in it as the other Works Alpha has.
No, it definitely won't. Although it's clearly good enough to run at the top end of the grid, as I said last race, given who the team is and what they've done before. But he's already coming under fire from Gasho, who's taking all of the road and a little bit more to try and get past.
I'm surprised I didn't see gravel charts.
Surprise
down goes
Honda again.
Sensing a theme here, Sherlock.
Yeah, Lammers is being Mr. Opportunistic here. As soon as Gasho shows a gap, he's going for it.
And again.
Fancies his chances a little bit, maybe. He had a good rookie season last season, so now he wants to capitalise on it and make sure his second year here is worth something.
And again, surprise Honda.
Again. Yeah, Gasho had to get on the brakes early so he didn't go in the back of the Alpha in front, which allowed Lammers to really close up there.
Consa and indeed Atina. Here's your race winner from race 1. didn't get to off to the best of starts, has slipped back slightly. Kubica with another decent run. Wittmann also struggling to get any ground at the start. Kind of had the power off the line, but has fallen back somewhat.
It does make sense. They were all the rear-wheel drive cars were together, so it essentially annulled their starting advantage because everybody had it.
Gasho
Which
fighting
again
back.
allowed Webber to get past. There goes Gasho into second, so Dumat down to third. Hopefully he can keep that podium position, but I have a funny feeling there will be a Honda on his back bumper before too long. Now, can Gasho go and catch Webber for the lead, or will this be BMW's first win of the season?
That
Webber's
is a
put
point.
on a...
They've been threatening to do so. They've obviously did well last year. They've been at the front of the field, as well you see right now. The win has eluded them this year.
Yeah, Webber's put on a decent season so far and a decent title defence, though given the performance of Renault, it's clearly not been enough so far, but we've got enough of the year left that could potentially change, especially if Aiello stays down where he is. Webber could amount to a second half of the season charge here and have a good go at defending his title. I think he is being caught by Gasho though currently.
Super wide at Campsa corner to get the power down, to get the speed down, the straight towards Lakasha hairpin. Schneider getting round Ekstrom there.
Yeah, Ekstrom is now having to fight all the rear-wheel drive cars, which is
still a very good run for the rookie. I mean, he's got pedigree with Volvo, but obviously World Super Touring experience is the reason why he's got the X on the back of his car. As does Kubica, but the European pedigree is there, even if the car is different, and he's been surprising us this weekend, and the performance is very good indeed. I see the privateers are in amongst the battles that the manufacturers are having.
yeah. Kubica's going to have the slight advantage in the battle of the rookies in that he's going to have some track experience with some of the venues we go to, because things like the Red Bull Ring and Dragon Trail, because they are the same track. That I don't know if Ekstrom's ever been to some of those circuits before. Ingram having to take a bit of a defensive line on Schneider. She's picked up some speed.
And there was a bit of acceleration to be had out of that car. It was closed in on Ingram before the hairpin.
We know the BMW's always been very, very good on its brakes, even before they, in the previous seasons where they had to use the M2, that was BMW's specialty, was being the last of the late breakers and getting a lot of advantage from it.
So I think our leaders are going to be starting to go away from the mid-pack.
Gasho is now harassing Webber.
But this is a battle that, correct me if I'm wrong, I can't remember. We'll have to go back to the archive of my. I've slept since the last couple of races, but I don't think there's been an on-track battle between Renault and BMW, or Alpha for that matter. So it's good that this got round to happening eventually, even if we didn't see it happen at all in race one.
I mean, given the amount of cars on the grid and the amount of races that have happened since this championship's inception, this will have happened at some point, but probably not for the lead.
Quite possibly. The Renault power is definitely there. It's very close into turn one.
Yeah, BMW with that better braking power has kept him in front for now. Gasho is just filling his rear view mirrors. I think Gasho's going to have to go for a bit of a slightly risky dive bomb, I think, if he wants to get past the M4 in front.
It's brewing. It's not happening now, but it's definitely brewing.
Because that's the other thing that Gasho's going to have to be careful of, is he doesn't want to burn out his front tyres, getting around the Beamer, only to lose that front end, that very all-important front end grip, and have Webber just lazily overtake him again, because Webber's tyres will be nicer.
Spot for the wobble on later on. And
Bit
it's
of
still a
daylight now
steady,
between the two cars.
yeah, and a steady stream from third on down to the mid pack, and slight bit of a gap for 15th on down. Braking area, Lakasha.
Two slightly different lines there. Webber went a little bit deeper, carried a bit more speed into the apex, whereas Gasho tried a bit more of a slow in, fast out mentality. Bit of a 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, given that they're still similar gap to each other through the last two corners here. Tapping the brakes, making sure they don't understeer off into the gravel, because that would be suicide. Gasho has a slight run here. He's got momentum. He's pulled out early, though, not really utilising any potential slipstream opportunities he might have had staying behind the BMW. Is he going to send it? No, not this time. Discretion better
Smart
part of
enough
valor
on the
this
brakes,
time.
and as we went to the BMW with the better brakes, kept it where it was.
While Ingram is having a fight with Thompson in front of him. So battle of the Brits in the two different manufacturers here. Ingram taking the same wide line through there that the Renaults do. Thompson going defensive. Not sure why you needed to do that, mate. Ingram wasn't close enough.
As we head past halfway, the entertaining battles, they are threatening again. I think they are. Well, there we go. Wittmann
Giving a little hurry up to Schneider as she backed off from Ingram in front to make sure she didn't cause an accident.
nothing like a bit of. Anyway, there's Ekstrom behind Fisichella, now into the top 10.
Well, he's lost spots. He was in front of the two Alphas before last time we checked on them, so that. Unfortunately, I think that was always going to be an inevitability, but still, he's got a good gap back to Kubica, so in theory he can stay best of the rookies and get a 10th place here for race 2.
This is where we have to start talking about the potential championship implications. Renault's poor performance, it hasn't really been that bad a weekend considering they got into the top 10, they got into the reverse grid on pole. One's in second, but Aiello is still further back. It's not going to make too much of a dent on the Drivers' Championship. As for the Constructors, that's kind of same again. Calculations are that it'll be about a 90 to 100 point gap by the time the race is over. As for the battle for the lead, it is a potential approximately 30 point gap between the two Renaults, and then Webber another roughly 30 points back. We'll just have to give you those accurate figures when the checkered flag falls. Ingram still trying to make sure that Thompson's distracted enough to make a mistake. All the while, Schneider and Wittmann are clinging onto his shirt tails.
Yeah, I think Ingram needs to be more careful about the BMW behind him.
Too late.
The BMW alongside him, because I think they are the faster cars right now. Ooh, you've got to give some racing room. There you go. Schneider on through, although Ingram is not taking that line down. There's nearly rallycross.
Having been a victim of Bathurst of such driving standards, obviously it's a little bit slower on the exit of that particular hairpin, but still, that might.
He's going to send it.
Fly. Well, sent
far too deep into the corner.
Too well sent.
A for effort, but too big of a send. You've now lost a position to both the Alphas, so that was ultimately a whoops.
Had he not been ultra defensive on the exit of Seat hairpin, I think that was going to happen eventually. He just had to yeet the damn thing into Lakasha. But here comes Gasho. It's still not happening. It's the same move as before.
Yeah, he keeps having a look, but he's not. I think he's trying to put Webber off, and you know, what I said about looking after the tyres still holds water, but you are running out of laps now, Mark. You do need to get a bit of a hurry on and start using up your stuff if you want that race win. Because Webber's just going to put his car where he needs to go, because Jamie is very, very good at that. I know, I've
And
raced against him.
his damage limitation for Gasho, I mean, he's going to be leading the championship whatever happens this weekend. But the momentum is starting to run out, and other teams are catching up with what Renault have done early days, and it's not even halfway past the championship yet. We've got 2 more rounds before that happens, before any major business occurs. Had they been on fire, we'd be saying, yep, this is going to be Renault's championship. But when you see what happens in practice, it's going to be a very interesting mid to late season for this championship this time by.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing picking up some points in race 2 to try as a form of damage limitation to maintain your lead, but if Webber's going to get finishes like this, where 4th in race 1 and then a potential win for race 2, you're going to need to up your game in qualifying in race 1, because you can't just be getting good points in one race and be struggling to get inside the top 10 for the other race. You're going to need more consistency than that. I think that's what the rear-wheel drive teams are proving right now, or in danger of proving.
Another deja vu moment for that McGann, malheureusement, where the move was there, but the distraction wasn't enough to stop Webber from breaking down the inside of Dumargo's Lamas. This was a bit of a
Not quite done
shock.
with it yet? No, there we go. Lammer's finally got the podium from the privateer. Schneider is on the back of both of them, though.
Schneider's definitely on fire then, because now, having got past Ingram, or Ingram finally decides to, there you go, we may as well have that position off me. Fisichella also starting to make inroads as Thompson.
Whitman's gotten past Thompson there, so the rear-wheel drives are marching their way forwards, despite Lammers' best attempts here to try and maintain a podium. There goes Dumas down the inside again. Never mind.
Lammers doing enough to stop Honda from being, dare I say it, mediocre. They're getting onto the podium for this race, and hopefully that is the case by the end of the race. But the battle is still here. It's been a bit stagnant, and let's hope something happens for this all to be worthwhile.
We are rapidly running out of laps, though. I feel like this is Webber's got. He's got enough defensive capability in hand just to keep that Renault back there, unless something kind of silly happens. And I do not want to commentators jinx it, but I fear I might have done.
The shadows are getting longer. Tyres are going to get cooler. Position as per the last 5 laps, where Webber is just not flinching with a challenging Renault just out of eye line in the blind spots every single time it happens. Webber's metal is being tested, and it is durable. And here is what's going to happen for the podium. Wittmann up to 6th. Thompson down to 7th. Physically threatening to get that position off him. Ingram and Ekstrom, I mean, this should be baseline for any rookie team, 9th and 10th, to be fair. And
Ekstrom's fallen off the back, though, and has now got an Aiello all over him, who's finally got himself free of the privateers at the back. This is very much within the grounds of too little too late for the Renault, but
yep.
Every point's going to count at this point for them, because they have got a sizable lead, but they do need to maintain it. Gasho, not this time.
With one more attempt at that corner to go. Might have to see what happens for the P3 down, because Lammers is heading down on that corner, as is Duma, as is Schneider, as is the grass.
Yeah, Lammers has got a bit of a gap there because I think Schneider and Duma are too busy having a squabble. Too wide through this whole complex. It's going to give Lammers some breathing room, which he's probably going to need in order to keep that third place.
So a comfortable position to be in for Lammers.
Schneider hanging tough around the outside. If she can pull that one off, that'll be a hero move. She's still there.
Almost. Alpha Power, is she going to be assisted by Wittmann down the front stretch? It's another. Oh, we're going to get three wide again.
3 wide. Okay, here we
go.
go.
Well then, all right.
Sorry,
and on
but
the last
you are
lap,
a privateer at the end of the day.
And that has been forfeited as Wittmann is up to fourth now, and Schneider doesn't really lose the position.
Wittmann with the 2-for-1 deal, just like Ekstrom got in race 1. And Duma, the big loser in that one.
And we're not seeing any change for the lead as of yet. I don't think we're going to get that through Wirth and Kampser.
Gasho may have burnt his tyres out a little bit. There is more of a gap there between those cars. I don't think the fight for fourth is quite done though. Schneider is definitely looking threatening enough, and Duma might lose sixth here. Thompson's looking a bit threatening. Maybe, maybe not. Thompson's got to be careful though, because there is a Fisichella all over the back of him.
And has been for the last 3 laps.
The Honda's here definitely holding up the front-wheel drive banner, even if Gasho is in second.
So we knew the reverse grid was going to be more entertaining than race 1, especially when the big 4, or the big 2 so to speak, get the business in early. But Webber with the win. Gasho still not close enough. Would it have been profitable to try harder at the risk of losing more grip? We shall never see, as the haze hits the final turn, as Lammers defends for one of the better positions he's had in the World Championship, but Wittmann could be threatening that. Oh, okay. Very close across the line for everyone, including Ingram. There's your top 9, and top 10 is about to be bookended by one of these two, and that's Ekstrom with another wonderful drive. But Aiello with the question mark, as they now still are top 2. It is a 31-point gap for Gasho, extended it by 16 points rather. It used to be 14 earlier, but everyone else is going to be closing up. Fairly obvious for me that was a better race than race 1, but the moves were still, the moves in race 1 were kind of echoed in race 2.
Yeah, absolutely, especially with Wittmann's 2-for-1 deal going into turns 1 and 2 there, like Ekstrom got in race 1. I think that's a bit of a wake-up call for the rest of the front-wheel drive teams, that the rear-wheel drive cars have once again worked something out with their cars, and they're here to play. And I feel like this championship run is going to be Alfa and BMW within a shout of it. It just depends on whether Volvo can continue their run of good luck, whether Honda can find some speed with their cars, or whether Renault can maintain. I have a horrible feeling that Ford and Volkswagen are just not going to be part of the conversation this year.
And it's going to be Red Bull Ring next. We've seen front-wheel drive do very well around there, but if rear-wheel drive was very good around here, I'm expecting the Echo in Austria, through the valleys, through the Alps. It's going to be a Renault leading the Manufacturers' Championship heading to Austria. Fairly obvious who's in the lead of the privateers, the independents. It's not only Dumas, but DHL as an independent team. And to cap off the top 3, it is still BMW, followed by Alfa, with no one else with a decent shout, as Volvo are still 4th, and a very good season for them, being first time in the championship. And we shall see you in Austria sometime soon. Good racing, everyone.